Yeah. Yeah.
Look at me.
Bench mob, they're speaking the facts that you wanna hear. They rep a jersey, the vision is clear. Diamonds glisten like a chandelier. You know what I'm here for, like Marshawn Lynch. At clutch time, we do not flinch. Real brothers, we do not switch. Hit home runs with the right pitch. Who run the city? What to do when they hating on you? I feel like Kobe 2010. I ain't taking an L, all I need is a win. Business is business, you know how they go. You glad the seats, now it's time to grow. Tuning now, gotta be in the know. Showtime, bitch, my butter blow.
I ain't seen from now. Bowser really, I'm just trying to tell you.
Next my podcast. What's up, bro?
Welcome back to another episode of the Bench Mob ENT. Yes, we are back for another episode. Back-to-back days. Y'all getting this content. This will probably be, safe to say, right? This will probably be the last episode before the new year.
I would say, unless something crazy happens, I would say, yeah.
Yeah, it's too much going on.
Yeah.
How was your Christmas? Santa gave you everything that you wanted?
Man, let me tell you, Santa gave me some white KDs, the new KDs that came out, bro, from 14s. The most comfortable basketball shoe I've ever hooped in my life. All hoopers should go out and grab a pair. KD getting a free plug. That's also my guy, so I don't mind plugging him, being a net and all. But that shoe is, no, seriously, like, you get to break in shoes, like, you don't break them in. Yeah. I played last night, I played like KD last night. I was going crazy. It was nuts.
Yo, for our listeners, we have some people of all ages. I want to tell y'all, from Uncle Tone, Santa ain't real. So in this situation right here, Santa for Greg is his fiance. She's playing the role of Santa. Santa don't exist. For y'all younger people, your parents are playing the role of Santa. So just throw that out there. I want to burst that bubble right now. Santa does not exist. Just wanted to throw that out there real quick. So, of course, we got Miles, who's not able to make it. He had a company dinner to go to. I had to, go eat, rub elbows with the rich folk. And then we already know CJ Moneybags is traveling around the world right now like Carmen Sandiego. So he'll hop on probably in the new year, which kind of sucks, though, because we are going to be talking about Joe Burrow and these Bengals. Yeah. Joe Burrow, last game, 37 for 46, 525, 4 TDs. Obviously, no Lamar Jackson. But I saw the debate. We posted the poll. People are voting so far. Joe Burrow is better than Lamar.
This is a tough. That's tough. Lamar's better, and Lamar's better. Objectively, Lamar's better. Lamar's done more in the league. Lamar has had a playoff berth. Lamar has an MVP under his belt. That's not a mistake, right? And now is in a year where guys were saying he should improve his passing, and now this year he's an improved passer. Lamar does more with less than anybody in the NFL, period. And he gives you more options as a coach. Your offense is not limited to just throwing the ball. You can do read option. You can do whatever you want. He moves the ball up and down the field as he sees fit. He's just that good. So Lamar is a singular talent I've never seen before in the NFL. I'm giving him the nod. That being said, Joe Burrow is special. Like, he is it. He is all of it. Like, he's going to be the best quarterback in the league at some point in his career. I don't see it now. I think he's gonna give guys like Pat Mahomes and Lamar and all these guys a run for their money in the years to come. I'm at a loss for words how good he is. I was looking at some of the throws he made. He made every kind of throw in that game. Every throw, layered throws, deep throws, touch passes, bullet passes to the flat, to the deep part of the field. He challenged every part of the field. He was incredible. He is so good. And just congratulations to Bengals fans. You have your guy. I'm really jealous. You have your guy definitively.
You might want to put Joe Burrow probably not overall better than Lamar, because Lamar can do way more. But Joe Burrow, passing wise, Lamar hasn't had a 4,000-yard passing season yet, and Joe Burrow is already so far this season 4,165 yards, 30 TDs, 69.9% completion percentage. Like, Joe Burrow throwing wise, I guess it depends on what you want. If you want a quarterback that's going to be able to go get yards with his legs, then all right, you go with Lamar because Lamar got the full package. But if you want you a nice pocket passer who scrambles just to get passes off, hey.
My praise for Lamar is come from the fact that he's improved as a passer. So now he's a guy you can sit back in the pocket and do more traditional stuff with. And also at the same time, he's going to run and gas you up whenever he feels like it. He does both. It's insane. He's like the best runner he's the best guy with the football in his hands in the league, maybe outside of Jonathan Taylor right now. And then on top of that, he's throwing the ball and really efficient throwing the ball all over the field now. He's gotten better. So that's why I give him the edge, but it's a slight edge. Joe Burrow is really good. If you pick Joe Burrow over Lamar Jackson, great. Just don't do it 70 to 30%. Don't make it a landslide for Joe Burrow. That's ridiculous. It should have been closer than that. That's just ridiculous. That makes no sense. Like, you're just going off of last week's game. But no, Joe Burrow is it. Congrats to Bengals fans. He's gonna win a Super Bowl at some point.
I think the thing too that you gotta look at it, you mentioned, and I agree with this. You look at Lamar. Lamar has not had as much help this season as Joe Burrow has had with the amount of weapons he's had. If we switch them on teams, do we see the Bengals having the same type of success and the Ravens in this same type of situation?
I don't think the Ravens are successful, just because of the fact that you're limited in you're more limited in what you can do. You got to utilize your wide receivers in a more traditional capacity, because he's going to be dropping back under center, throwing the ball out, flinging it around, not nearly as much running. In fact, barely any. He tore his ACL last year trying to run and getting hurt. So Lamar, though, with the Bengals system, with Jamar chasing them dudes and Boyd and all those guys and Higgins, my God, it would be crazy. He doesn't need a special offensive line to do what he does. He's going to make guys miss. He's going to make big time plays. We would see we would see a 4,000 yard passing season from him with that team, but also 1,000 yards on the ground rushing, possibly, like that type of season from Lamar with those kind of weapons. Again,
I think Joe Burrow has, I don't know, maybe he brings out more in Hollywood Brown because he's not running. You feel me? Like, so it's more targets going his way. You're not having in the quarterback option. All right, we passing. If Joe Burrow's passing 40 times, that's more intense towards a Hollywood Brown, Andrews. So maybe they don't have as much success. But the thing is weird with the Ravens. They had mad injuries this season. So I think that's what people are forgetting too. Like,
yeah,
the Ravens have had mad injuries. Overall, they've pretty much have owned the Bengals pretty much like over recent years. But injuries this season, the overall series, Ravens is up 27-25 in the series. But I think if Lamar is there, they're healthy with how Lamar's been throwing, they don't lose any of those games this year.
Yeah, I would agree.
He put up 41 points both games.
Yeah, Rashad Bateman would be having a better season with Joe Burrow. Just, saying to your point, it's more different, I think, with the pure passer like that. But with the injuries in that offensive line and what Lamar's had to deal with, is Joe Burrow getting that ball out cleanly? I think he's great. We seriously flip a coin, but in my opinion, Lamar's better. I think a lot of people would agree that Lamar's a better player right now. I mean, people should, but again, Joe Burrow is so good, and they just have different strengths, different skill sets, and they can make your team better in different ways.
Now, with the Ravens losing, man, they right now on the outside looking in for the playoffs. Right now, they're 8-7. They finishing off the season. Chargers at home, Pittsburgh at home. They got 2 home games. Yeah. Now, a team that's above them, Dolphins, they finish at Titans, home against the Patriots. I don't know if Baltimore gets in. Dolphins, the first time in NFL history, 7-game losing streak to start off the season, and then a 7-game winning streak after that.
I would love to give the Dolphins all the credit in the world for their 7-game winning streak, and I will. I mean, as a guy who's seen a fair amount of losing, I'm not in a position to tell you that you shouldn't be happy about a 7-game winning streak. But what I will say is they've had a very weak schedule to get that 7 game. I looked at the 7 games; they haven't played anyone particularly great, and they beat Mike Glennon, they beat they've beaten bad teams, all throughout it. The Jets, I think they beat them too. So with this tougher schedule coming up for them, And if the Ravens can win one of these games, seriously, because the Dolphins might have dropped both of these next couple games. Titans, and I think you said who else? Titans and Bills, is it? Or
Patriots.
Oh my God, yeah, like they could drop both of these games for real. So if the Ravens can win one more game, I think they'll get in.
What's the latest on Lamar? Is Lamar coming back before the end of the season?
He's back with the last week of the season. They ain't going to be bad enough to where they have to cut him off the field. I don't think he'll be back this week. It's a big part of his game with his legs, and I think it was his right foot. That's his plant foot.
Do they just sit him out just for his health purposes and like, yo, we just?
I would, but the Ravens
come back
are
at the
playing
next year,
games.
like,
yeah.
I mean, Huntley's good. You saw Johnson play pretty well. I think the Ravens obviously can get in because I don't believe in the Dolphins. They beat the Texans, they beat the Ravens, Jets, Panthers, Giants, Jets, Giants, and Jets, and then they beat the Saints. I think it's for the Baltimore Ravens to get in, but it's like, for what reason though? Lamar's not healthy.
Yeah.
Even if he comes back week 18, he's not going to be fully healthy in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Do we want to risk that? Y'all not going to win a Super Bowl this year, so
yeah.
I say just go into the offseason. Just, all right, if we make it in, we make it in, but don't stress it by putting Lamar out there possibly getting injured. I wouldn't do it.
Yeah. It all depends on it all depends on what Lamar is capable of doing when they go through these tests throughout the week and all that stuff. If he's capable of getting out there and playing like Lamar, then maybe a chance it. But if not, then no. Then just no. It doesn't make any sense.
Exactly. Just come sit at home with me. We got enough space on the couch. Watch the playoffs with me. Just do it like that. For Baltimore Chargers, they lose. We talked about it. Texans got busy on them. Put up a 41 piece.
Mm-hmm.
They put themselves in a bad situation. They finish off the season home against the Broncos, which that might be a L, and then at Raiders, which is a division game, so that might be a L too. How you see the Chargers panning out, and what's going on with the Chargers? Like, this is back-to-back seasons where they had the potential to be a playoff team. You got a generational talent with Herbert, and they can't put it all together at all.
It's the history of the Chargers says this happens all the time, and not just last year. This, like, historically, this team finds a way to lose big games. They find a way to lose big games since the LT days and Phillip Rivers days. That's what they did. Antonio Gates, like with all those weapons and all that talent, they would go into the playoffs like with 11-win season under their belt, and you'd think this is the year Phillip Rivers is finally going to win one, and they lost a big game. So I think it's a cultural thing. I think it's a cultural thing in the organization. I mean, obviously they have a great coach. I like the things they've done. Obviously, what's not to like, but I'm not going to give you an X and O reason why, like the football reason why these guys are struggling. I mean, I think they could fall. I think the fourth down strategy that Brandon Staley's been using all season is problematic at times. Okay, I know how good Herbert is, and I know it's worked, and I admire it because I have a coach that does not ever go for it, but there's a balance, and he goes for it a bit too much. Now, I'm not sure that's why they lost to the Texans 41, but let the Texans put up 41 points on them. That's just bad defense. That's them exploiting things in your defensive secondary that you have to get cleaned up. But if you look at it from a totality standpoint, it's really it could be a culture issue. Like, it really is. They've always done this. They do this all the time. They go from being a Maserati in the start of the season to being a Honda Civic 2002. It happens all the time.
Yo, it's crazy because Chargers, Baltimore, even the Raiders are still in the mix to try to get in there. The only way I see the Chargers maybe getting in there, like I said, they got to play against the Raiders to end off the season, and the Raiders are literally have the same record as them. So yeah. I think it'll be interesting, but tell me what you think on this, though, because I think the Chargers might be able to get in, but obviously they're going to need some help, probably from a team like Miami losing and the Patriots. Now, the Patriots got a pretty easy schedule, I think, to end it out. They're home against the Jags and then at Miami. And they've been on a little bit of a slump lately now, too, and it's in a position where, hey, Bill, now we got to get Mac to throw.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Y'all in trouble now.
Yeah, you can't. That's not a strong suit. It's crazy to say that about a quarterback taken in the first round, but You don't want him. You don't want him throwing the ball. If you can avoid it, you don't want to throw the ball him more than 25 times in a game.
It's that probably 20 at max, like if possible. And the Bills came back. The Bills came back and handled their business after that. Because I mean, I can't imagine you having to go home and you lost to somebody that threw the ball 3 times.
That was a Bill Belichick game. Bad weather games are his games. He's not going to lose a bad weather game. He just isn't. He just isn't going to do it. They're going to win those games, but they're limited. They're limited in what they can do. They need more weapons on the outside for Mac Jones, and I think Mac Jones has a chance as a quarterback in this league for sure. In that system with that coach, for sure he does, to play for a long time and be a franchise quarterback. But he's not that great. That goes to my point. You don't have to be Joe Burrow to win a Super Bowl in the league. Mac Jones will probably win a Super Bowl at some point. He probably will at some point. It's crazy.
That's because he's with Bill Belichick.
Yeah, it's more system-based. Coaching matters so much more in this sport than any other sport. I say it all the time. So, but with them this year, they're very limited. Their best receiver out there is Kendrick Bourne. Like it's going to be really hard to win game, and he's been good, but it's going to be really hard to win a Super Bowl with Kendrick Bourne being your best wide receiver. You got to get him some weapons. Same problem Tom Brady has, same problem he has now. That Mac has now. It's no different. So, I think they'll win the next 2 games, and it'll be a really interesting finish. But I think the Patriots are going to win. They're not going to get help from the Pats. I think the Pats don't beat themselves. They're going to beat these 2 teams they're supposed to beat.
Thing that's interesting too, a team that you just mentioned, you feel me, is like a Maserati, ends up being close to like a Honda Civic, is Arizona. Arizona, I get it, D-Hop is out.
Mm-hmm.
Kyler Murray was all in the MVP conversation at the beginning of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of happened last year. Hot start. Oh my gosh, this is a great duo talent. You got Kyler Murray and D-Hop. Oh my gosh, this is about to be one of the best quarterback wide receiver tandems ever in history. And it doesn't pan out to anything. It doesn't pan out to playoffs. They've clinched a playoff berth this year. That's cute, but they on a 3-game losing streak.
Mm-hmm.
And they the 5th seed right now. They can mess around and end up drop to the 7th seed. They end off their season at the Cowboys and then home against the Seahawks.
I hope they get their act together this weekend against the Cowboys.
What do you think is going on with the Cardinals? Though, like, what's up? Is D-Hop that much?
It's not even so much D-Hop in my opinion. Yes, missing D-Hop is a big deal because it affects their passing game. He's their number 1 option, and teams double team him, and it opens up the field for Kirk and all these other guys to get catches, Rondell Moore, all those guys. But the problem is they don't run. Like before the season started, I wasn't in love with the Cardinals because I was like, they don't run the ball. Like they don't run the ball well enough, and they don't stop the run well enough, in my opinion, to win a Super Bowl. And them not running the ball more so than anything else is, I think, their biggest problem. I don't think they have a consistent run game with James Conner. I think James Conner has been good, and has shown some burst, but they don't stick with the run. They put a lot on Kyle Murray's plate. They have that air raid, offense with their head coach, whose name is escaping me at the moment.
Cliff
Kingsbury. Yeah, right. So, when you in the NFL, when you're constantly trying to drop back and throw the ball over and over again, these defenses are really good. They're going to adapt. They're going to figure out ways to throw new blitzes at you. They know you have a quarterback that doesn't like to get hit. He doesn't like to get hit. He's going to bail out of a play if he feels like he's going to get cracked. That's just, I don't blame him. He's a small dude. He can't take those kind of hits over and over again. It's self-preservation at that point. The O-line isn't great, but I mean, early this year you saw fresh Kyler and you saw D-Hop, and they were humming with the passing game, and the running game complemented it. It complemented it nicely, but it wasn't what they led with, and they sure as hell didn't rely on the run game. Now the problem is you need to rely on it to take some pressure off your Kyle Murray as he's working his way back from an injury, and you just can't run. You just can't run the ball, and you can't possess the ball long enough to keep these great offenses off the field to go on the field against your defense. You know what I mean? Like the defensive line has been that great. J.J. Watt's out. Chandler Jones hasn't gotten a sack in God knows how long. I'm probably wrong, but he had that 5-sack game early in the year, and I haven't heard too much more about him. He's not a sack leader in the league. So there's a lot of factors defensively and offensively, but in my opinion, if they could run the ball and possess the ball for a long time, they would be a team that this wouldn't be a problem. They would not have lost Detroit. But when you don't run the ball well and you can't possess the ball, you're going to have a lot of issues in the NFL. It's running the ball is critical. It's huge.
Man, I think the Cardinals. That's a first round. That's a first round bye after that. Like they'll be out after the first round.
Mm.
Are we thinking we got San Fran and Philly as the last two teams right now, and Minnesota, Atlanta, New Orleans on the outside looking in?
Mm-hmm.
I think it stays like that. I don't see Minnesota making a move. I don't see Atlanta making a move. I don't
It's
see
really
New
sad
Orleans.
about Minnesota. Minnesota would be in the playoffs if they didn't have Kirk Cousins as quarterback and they had someone you could actually trust. It's just a Kirk Cousins thing. There's more. They have more problems than that. But if they had a better quarterback, if they had Jimmy Garoppolo or something, who I think is slightly better, I think they'd be in the playoffs. But they don't, and here we are. They're going to miss the playoffs, and they're going to be in the quarterback market
For sure. Jimmy G though, I guess he's better than Kirk, but Jimmy G obviously is holding
He's not
back
great.
San Fran. Yeah, he's holding back San Fran.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. Yes, but then I guess the question I have is then where's Trey Lance? Why hasn't he won the job? You know, why have they held him back? Because it's them holding him back, right? I mean, we can all see that. I think when you draft a quarterback in the first round, we obviously know that teams are never hesitant to put you in the game and let you go in there and just win the job, take the job. They give you the job to keep it. They want you to earn. They hold on to it. So I think it's weird. I mean, the good thing in all this is that we're going to see Trey Lance because obviously Jimmy G has the injury to his finger, which sounds crazy. He's a chip bone, but I think we may not see him again. And with the 49ers playing football, period. I think he's going to be in the market, and I think teams are going to fall over themselves to get him. The quarterback market is not great. You got to remember, there's not a lot of quarterbacks in this draft, and that people like a lot. I like Pickett, but that's about it. So we'll see. But I think he's going to be a hot commodity, as bad as he's been.
Well, that's the thing. You're going to take that veteran option over these questionable rookies. So
Yeah.
Jimmy G will still have a job. Cap of facts. Now you just mentioned Trey Lance, one of the other rookie quarterbacks that has been balling. The Texans should consider Davis Mills as their quarterback of the future.
Yeah, like to the point, facts. To the point I just made, like the quarterback market is not that great. The draft doesn't have it's not rich with quarterbacks this year, so it actually makes it a pretty easy decision for them. And if he is a quarterback they hit on, he's a late round pick. I know you're not going to get a fifth year option with him, but you're going to get to build it's going to be a fast rebuild. They got a lot of first round picks in the next couple of years. It'll be a faster rebuild than they would have thought it would have been in Houston. They could be good faster than people think. Now, it could be fool's gold with Davis Mills. We don't know, but he's shown flashes. He's played well enough to earn some consideration, at least be in consideration for their starting job next year. I think he's probably earned the starter title. And again, who are you going to draft? I mean, really, what do you use your draft picks on to get to build out your skill positions and build out your defense and get your team good again?
I think you have to, as the Texans, you got to give it a look. Give him a shot next year. Have him go into the season as a starter. Have him go in, maybe do a quarterback competition. Maybe you sign a Jimmy G to back him up. But I think how he's ended off the season so far, now we got 2 more games left. But they on a 2-game winning streak. He's averaging 265 yards in the last 3 games. And he has a 69 completion percentage right now over the last 3 games, with 2 touchdowns a game and only 1 interception in those games. So he's not turning the ball over. I think that's something you got to give a look to. And then you bring a vet in just in case. All right, next year he's struggling. All right, cool. We tried. Y'all ain't got nothing else to lose as the Texans. Y'all don't have nothing else to lose. Deshaun not coming back.
And assuming Deshaun beats his case, you're going to be able to flip him for a lot of assets. I mean, for real. So that's part of what makes this whole thing even better. Like if you find a quarterback, you don't have to go looking. You can trade Deshaun and get great position players back and build out your team, and use the draft in addition to that. Just a win-win.
Exactly. This one, I want to see what your thoughts on it is. Justin Jefferson is a top 5 wide receiver right now. Cap or facts?
I think facts. I think he is. As I think about some of the best receivers off the top of my head right now. I think Odell honestly still a top 5 receiver in the league. I mean, not this year, fine, but just overall his skill level. We see he has 4 touchdowns in the last 6 games. I would certainly put him in that conversation. But Devontae Adams, if I'm thinking about guys who are better, Devontae Adams, D-Hop, I'm missing dudes. Devontae Adams, D-Hop, who am I missing? Cooper Kupp.
Cooper Kupp, Tyreek Hill,
Tyreek
Steph
Hill is a bit special, right? But I would put Justin Jefferson up there, yo. Seriously, I mean, no one can cover him. He's broken Odell's record for most yards within your first 2 years of your career, which is incredible because people don't understand how good people forgot how good Odell was in that time period. It was ridiculous to watch up close every weekend. But to break that record, that says something with Kirk Cousins as your quarterback. That's pretty special. Right? That's pretty special. So yeah, I say he's top 5. I mean, you can have a debate about it. There's a lot of really good receivers in the league. I'm probably selling some dudes short, but I think that he's definitely earned this a clear spot staying in that top 5 for years to come. He's gonna climb it too.
Yeah, right now, if I had to do it off of like this season, you got Devontae up there, Cooper Kupp, Tyreek Hill, who's came on later in the season.
Yeah.
And you got to throw Stephon Diggs in the mix. D-Hop's out. So then I think Justin Jefferson is right there in that mix. He has to be top 5. And again, it's only 2 years in. I just hope that Justin Jefferson continues to be able to grow his game unlike Odell was. Odell was on that same trajectory to be top wide receiver ever conversation. He was literally on that same trajectory. Then you had the situation, a little injury here and there, the going back and forth with Bob McAdoo, him and Eli not seeing eye to eye, going to Cleveland, dealing with, I guess we call him a quarterback, Baker Mayfield. Like, they jacked his career up because Odell was on that same wavelength of talking about he in the same conversation with Randy Moss, T.O. Easily, Jerry Rice.
Yeah.
And them, that's it. It was Jerry Rice, Randy Moss, T.O., and Odell. He was supposed to be in that conversation, and nobody else was able to come inside the room. They was having dinner by themselves. Everybody was outside watching, trying to figure it out. That's how it was supposed to be. Justin Jefferson, like you said, shout out to him for being able to actually achieve all this with this guy as his quarterback. So hopefully he's able to continue that. And like you said, they might be on the market for a quarterback. So I hope they don't bring somebody in that's not going to be able to get the job done. And then we looking at Justin Jefferson talking about, oh, he only had 1,000 yards this season. He only had 800 yards this season because he don't have a quarterback to get him the ball.
Yeah, I mean, Odell left a situation where he had a guy who can get him the ball. That's the bottom line. A guy who's going to get him the ball no matter what. Just Justin Jefferson should learn from that mistake and make sure that he's absolutely sure before he tries to force his way out of Minnesota, if that ever does happen. And it could. I could see him playing somewhere else in his career for sure.
The NFL should completely get rid of the Pro Bowl game. Kappa facts.
I actually think I think facts. I don't think it's worth it. These guys aren't going to risk their health, right? They're not playing hard, and let's be honest. Football is not football without reckless abandon, without car wrecks happening in every single play, and it's not going to happen in the Pro Bowl. So, and I don't blame them for that. I think it's a smart move. You protect your money, protect yourselves, and make sure you guys can cash in on. Because a lot of these guys that play in the Pro Bowl, sometimes these guys are hitting free agency. The same summer. Like, a lot of these things are happening. I don't think it's worth it at all. You got to find another way to reel fans in. And honestly, I don't even think that football needs a Pro Bowl. They don't need an all-star game. They don't need it. Like, honestly, they really don't. Football isn't the kind of sport where you can kind of play recreationally and, just for fun. I mean, look, the NBA can have a entertaining all-star game because, let's just be honest, it's not as much contact, and you can play a competitive game and guys will leave unscathed and healthy and continue with the season. With football, the nature of it is guys getting hurt. So I don't think it's worth it risking these guys' injury, risking these guys' health and them getting hurt and things like that. I don't see the point in it. It's also just not a good product. No one watches it. No one cares. Find other things to do.
I think they should change the format up of making it like a first team, second team type of vibe where they do it like that instead of doing a Pro Bowl that way. Players still get accolades and awards because ain't nobody playing the Pro Bowl really hard and ain't nobody watching it. So they should do something like that where you got, all right, these are the top 34 players first team NFL quarterback, wide receiver, boom, each position. Do it like that. Instead of you keep it titled as Pro Bowl, but it should be no game. Just do it like that. Have it votes, have them be able to get their credit for it, and that's about it. That's how I feel. This shit right there.
Yeah, and if you want, bring back the contest where the quarterbacks go out there and Suk and throw the furthest. I mean, that was pretty entertaining. I think that was pretty cool. I don't know why they stopped doing it. Do that. Find other ways to get these guys. Hey, how about you guys? How about they do one-on-one? Take the best DB in the league, take the best wide receiver in the league, line them up with a great quarterback, and let them just go one-on-one. And I'd watch that. I would watch that 100%. There's other things they can do. They don't have to. I just gave them 2 great ideas. They should hire me. I wouldn't work with them, but they should hire me. Like, they have to figure out ways to, get guys interested. Those 2 things alone would be more interesting than the game ever was.
Now we gonna end off the show with this one because we're both on the same page. We're both campaigning for it. We don't fully agree to the extent, but Demar Derozan has been balling. Chicago as a team has been balling. You go to the extent of saying that Demar Derozan has a better case for MVP than Steph. I agree he has a case for MVP, but not a better case. It might be equal, but not a better case than Steph. No way. But go ahead, break it down. I really want to hear why he has a better case for MVP.
I think that DeMar DeRozan is in second place, clear-cut second place in the MVP race behind Kevin Durant. I do believe he's in second place behind KD. And the reason why is because I just think DeMar has to do more for his team to win basketball games than Steph Curry does. And it's not to, belittle what Steph Curry does on a night-to-night basis. He's incredible, and that team can't function. The team cannot function the same without him. I would totally agree with that. But I think it's safe to say the Warriors are a deeper basketball team than just about every team in the league. They're deep. I mean, they added 2 first-round picks that don't even play this year. Like they're in the G League. They're not playing minutes. Kuminga is kind of coming on. Moody's in the G League right now. You got Poole came on strong this year. Has improved his game. Andrew Wiggins having a career year, which is crazy. Last year he wasn't having a career year. This year he is. Otto Porter is a really good player that I actually wanted the Nets to get, and we didn't get him. So you're talking about a team that's dead deep, and you're talking about a team that's going to add Klay Thompson, add Wiseman back into the fold. They're a deep team, so I don't think he has to do nearly as much for that team to win basketball games on a night-to-night basis. He really doesn't. He really doesn't. They're a team that could win without him. They could win 30, 35 games, 35 to 40 games. They're a good team with Draymond. Golden State. Golden State could win 35 games in a high bar. You're not a good team. You win 35 games, but just think about it. Like the Bulls last year were a middling team fighting to I don't think they even got in the play-in. If I'm not mistaken. So
Golden State currently constructed right now, if no Steph, they can win 30, 35 games.
I think 35 games is fair, yeah. With an increased role for Wiggins, an increased role for Poole, who's played well, they can win 30 games, 35 games, 30, 35, anywhere in the range.
I guess I can see that. I just think they're deep, but Steph makes these players better. You feel me? Like so we've talked about it plenty of time. Andrew Wiggins he doesn't play this well anywhere else. He's been reinvigorated in Golden State. You mentioned Otto Porter, who has been unfortunately a journeyman. Nobody's saying he's not talented, but he's moved. He's not what people expected. The game on Christmas Day, they beat the Suns. Mm-hmm. Great game for Golden State. Phoenix shouldn't have lost that game. Those buckets Otto Porter was getting at the end of the game is only because of Steph. That's literally because of Steph.
Steph creates a diversion with the defense. He when he runs through anywhere he goes, the defense is gonna shift that way, and guys are gonna get open looks. I agree. He changes the game just being on the floor, and his MVP case is strong. But when I look at what DeMar's done, okay, we're talking about a dude who's taking mid-range jump shots. Like that's how he's getting his buckets. I saw he had a line that last night. I think he was like 35, 10, and 7 on 70% shooting. Yo, what DeMar's doing, bro? I ain't seen nobody shoot the mid-range shot this well, this proficiently since Jordan. Not Kobe, Jordan.
Kobe didn't always shoot that thing proficiently.
Come on, bro.
Kobe, you know Kobe mindset. I'm gonna get them up.
I'm gonna get these things up.
I'm gonna get them up. I don't care.
Yeah, I'm not. It don't like whether I make him or miss him. It's better. I'm better. I'm taking him than you're taking him. That's his mentality, and that's fine. It worked. It's okay. But God rest his soul. But when I think about how good DeMar's been, yo, and I've seen him play. I've watched 3 separate bowl games this year. Not a million of them. But every time in the fourth quarter when the game's in question, it's not Zach LaVine, it's not Lonzo Ball, it's not Vucevic, it's him. They get the ball to him and they get out of the way. And he's isoing and nothing is working. They're trying to double him. Nothing's working. If they double him, he's just doing a turnaround fade to the opposite side shoulder, getting his jump shot off. He is playing at a level that, like, yo, for real, he's playing at a Hall of Fame level right now. DeMar Derozan playing at a Hall of Fame level right now, right? Like, no one can guard him. There's no one in the NBA can guard that guy right now. And I didn't see this coming. I didn't see it coming for a guy who we talked about early in his career. He has to add a 3-point shot to his game. The NBA is going away from what he does. He needs to get with the times. And that was the criticism of DeMar Derozan, right? To now, he's just giving us all the middle finger. Like, yeah, I'm gonna get these middle fingers. I'm gonna get these mid-range jump shots up, right? I'm gonna get them up, and there's nothing anybody can do with me. The defense can't stop me. I'm gonna get to whatever I want, whenever I want. And he's facilitating. He's getting rebounds. He's staying healthy. The guy, he's playing at a level that he's playing at a higher level right now than Stephen Curry. That's what I'm saying. And that team, that Bulls team without DeMar right now, they're very talented. They're deep. They got Vooch. They got Zach. They got Zoe, who's playing at a high level too, and Caruso has been great for them. They got a lot of factors too. They're deep. I mean, come on, they're not as deep as the Warriors. And DeMar is the way he's making your defense have to account for him. It's making everyone's life so easy on that team too. He's been like, seriously, he's playing at a higher level than anybody in basketball outside of KD, and it's close.
The thing is, right? If they stay at this rate, DeMar probably has the stronger case, and I'd actually like to see DeMar get the MVP over KD just because KD got one before, and nobody expected Chicago to be the number 2 seed.
Oh, facts.
The thing is how the voters work, and we know this.
Come on.
The narrative for Steph and the Warriors to be back on top of the league, I think, and I appreciate what DeMar is doing. The man, he is top 5 in ISO buckets, but he's only top 15 in how many attempts he's getting. So the man isn't even jockeying. Like, it's just super. He
hits the ball. He puts the ball in the basket like almost every time, like at a ridiculous rate.
Super efficient. I just don't think, unfortunately, because you got Golden State at 27-6, you got Steph Curry, you got the narrative. He's back. He's doing this without Clay. Now Clay coming back
right now. Hard. And KD also benefits from the narrative too. KD coming off the Achilles. He was never supposed to be this good again. The writers were always saying, he's not going to be the same player. Weren't the writers saying that? Weren't everybody on ESPN when they were on TV talking about, the journalists were saying that? And now that he's playing at this high level, at a ridiculously high level, by the way, now they're likely to give it to him. The Nets are going to finish with the first seed in the East. It'll be mainly because he's been the steady force in that league and on that team carrying them. They're likely to give him an MVP over Curry. It's going to be, their formula is always simple. Best player on the best team. Best player on the best team, and what narrative do we like that we drew up the most? That's always been the 3 consistent things. DeMar won't win MVP. DeMar won't even finish ahead of Steph Curry in the MVP voting system. He won't get more votes, more second place votes. But we're here to tell you that DeMar is, I think, by far a clear cut second. And Steph's been great, and Steph's right there. But DeMar has been the second place guy in that MVP race, in my opinion, just on what he's doing. And you can make a case for him being first. You can make a real case for him being the MVP in the league. I wouldn't argue with you. You
gotta look at it. The thing that's going to really determine, I think, too, MVP, the championship, COVID. How many games will some players miss? Like, if you can stay fairly healthy, which from what I can remember so far, Steph hasn't hit the COVID protocols. He hasn't had to deal with that as of yet. So
they're staying blessed.
So that's what I'm saying. You feel me? Like, so I can see, depending on if it stays like this, where Golden State has the number 1 record in the league, they're gonna give it to Steph. The voters are gonna give it to Steph.
But with the Nets being the number 1 seed in the East, it makes things tougher for them. It challenges their theory. Then it's like, okay, what narrative do you like more? That's what they get to pick because KD's been just as good. Now KD hit the protocol. I know what you're saying. Is it look, it's unlikely Steph's not going to hit the protocol at some point. It's just unlikely. These teams, LeBron made a great point the other day. He said, hey, like, where teams like the Warriors and Suns, the only difference between us and them, when he's not totally right in saying this, there's a lot of differences. They don't have Westbrook, but we don't talk about that, is that they have all their guys. He made a good point. They do. They hadn't, no one had noticed, none of those, the Warriors and Suns hadn't been touched by the protocols. No one was getting COVID on those teams, weirdly enough. Now, I know Jay Crowder just went out with COVID and it affected the Suns lineup, but the Warriors have been really fortunate. And I know Draymond took the protocol, but they have been fortunate up until now, up until Brian said something. Weird timing, really. But we'll see. I think it's very unlikely that Steph's not going to hit the health and safety. And I'm not wishing that on him. Knock on wood that he's going to be able to stay healthy. But this thing is getting everybody. Just real talk.
I think the other thing too, before we close out, right? So you just mentioned it, Bron, bruh. What we love Bron. We believe Bron is the GOAT. Could you understand what this man after every game is basically trying to tell the world to just be patient? We just gotta get healthy. That's Bron. This is you can't give these same interviews. Like, this is not 2010, 2011. You can't we just gotta get healthy. We've been hit really bad. Like, Bron, that's not flying. That's not it, bruh. Golden State don't have Clay and Wiseman. So every team, whether it's COVID protocols, injuries, have been hit on some degree. It's the Lakers. Y'all have championship aspirations. Mm-hmm. Y'all have no excuse.
I will say the injuries that they've had, the Lakers have hit them in a hard spot. I don't think any team in the league has had injuries that have hit them as hard as the Lakers. Because I'm telling y'all, when the Lakers signed Kendrick Nunn, I was like, that's a big deal. Like, a dude that can go get a bucket, and he's not, like Malik Monk, how I was telling you on the group chat, I'm like, Malik Monk is a big deal for them. Like, he helps them a lot because he's not scared to take the shots. In fact, sometimes he's a little too bashful shooting it, but he's not scared to shoot it. And he's a lot of different ways he can score the basketball. He can score off the dribble. He can get to the paint. He can create for someone else, which he's done a really nice job of this year. I didn't see that in his game in Charlotte. He does a great job of that. And he's streaky. He can really get you going, and he's a great guy to bring off your bench. Nunn is very similar, and Nunn is a little more consistent with his offensive game, in my opinion. Nunn, you can put him in a corner. He's going to knock down that 3-ball. Like, it's a big, and he's also going to get you buckets off the bounce, get to the basket, create. It's a big deal he's not playing. It's a really big deal. I think Nunn's never going to play a game for the Lakers because they're going to end up trading him for Jeremy Grant. I just feel it coming. They're going to have to do something to shake this thing up. They're stuck with Russ. There's no way they're getting rid of him, and that's fine. Some people would say that, I know we talked about it. Like, Russ is not the biggest problem with the team, but I think that you have to take that into consideration. Like, you're gonna end up having them make a big move here. It's gonna shift things with the team.
I mean, between Russ and Bron, I want to know, like, what are they drinking in the locker room? They got a different type of Kool-Aid, because I want to know what Russ is thinking. Russ says, yeah, people just, expect 25, 15, and 15 out of me, and that's not normal. Bro, what are they drinking over in LA? What is Russ talking about? Like, I've been on Russ's case that he hasn't played well, but he's not the sole thing. Now it sounds like, outside of COVID testing, they might have to do drug testing with the Lakers. LeBron talking about, we just got to get healthy. And then you got Russ talking about, people just want 25, 15, and 15 out of me every night. Like, they asking for a lot. That's not normal. Bro, really?
He's making my point. He's making my point about him for years. He is so clearly focused on stats when he plays. I was telling Niall this, and Niall got on my case years ago. That year he won MVP with the Thunder, and I was saying, he's just stat hunting. He's clearly stat hunting. And like, but it's hard. How hard it is to get triple-double. You look, they're winning games, blah, blah, blah. You're not going to win. Look, it was okay when he was a freak athletically, some of the things he does, because you can cover up some of the turnovers and things like that with some of the plays he can make on the floor that other guys can't make. He's at the most athletic point guard in NBA history when he was more at his peak. But the triple doubles, the narrative around him, the triple double, him being the triple double king has really covered it up for the casuals in terms of how bad he's been in terms of not working on his deficiencies. He never solidified his jump shot. He never got a 3-ball that was consistent. He has never been a good decision maker at any point. And that was evident and very clear when he played with KD, when at the start of their careers and down the stretch of some games, KD wasn't getting the ball. It was Russ taking shots, and he would lose them games. He was losing them playoff games doing that. It was crazy. So I have never been a huge Russ fan. I am a fan of the energy he plays with. I think that is something you can admire. And I think there's something good for kids to take from that. Like, yo, play hard every possession. That's great. Play hard. Play smart too. And I think that the playing smart thing and also being self-aware. He's not self-aware. What he said, saying that, oh, guys want 25, 15, and 15 from me. No, we don't. Who told you that? We want you to do less. I don't even want you to have the ball as much. Give the ball to LeBron and let's figure out a different role for you. Set screens, roll, like make good decisions with the ball, push the ball in transition. You're good at that, but do what you're good at. You're not good at being a guy who has the ball in his hand and is running the show. You can't do that. You make bad. There's too many turnovers. There's just too many altogether. He's a walking turnover. So he's not self-aware though. It's a lack of self-awareness. It was so frustrating seeing that quote, and I sent it to you. It was so frustrating because he doesn't get it. He doesn't get it. And I don't know if he's ever going to change. And I thought it could work. I thought Bron might be able to get to him. It's not working. It's really not working. He does way too much. And it's scary. It's scary. I always told people, like, when at the end of his career, he wasn't going to go out. He wasn't going to go out nicely. It wasn't going to be a good happy ending for Russell Westbrook. And it's already happening. With the athleticism dissipating a little bit, what do guys rely on when their athleticism dissipates? Shooting, good decision making. He doesn't do either. So there's no reason to have him on your team. Like, it's hard. What I can't justify keeping Russell Westbrook on my team when you're going to turn the ball over 6 times. He has like the most turnover. It was a crazy number. I think he has like the highest turnover per game average in NBA history is a stat I saw today. That is crazy. That's crazy. And don't give me the primary ball handler crap. Because James Harden just played a game last night where he had the ball in his hands the entire night, and I think he only had 3 turnovers. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, it's decision making. He plays too fast. He doesn't change speeds. He doesn't work on his jump shot. Be self-aware. Lesson to learn from Russell Westbrook to all the kids that hoop and in life. Be self-aware. Understand your strengths. Understand your weaknesses. Understand what you bring to the table and how you can get better, and you'll be better off that way. That's the best thing I can tell anybody.
And that's the thing we ended off with, right? Everybody was hopping on Cat's neck, but they ain't watched the whole clip. They just saw the little post that he posted. He literally said that. He said, you know how hard it is to get a triple-double?
Yeah.
But I think Russ just plays too fast.
It's obvious. Like, if you hoop, you got to change paces. If you're a point guard, you catch the ball, you got to catch it. Look at the defense. See what they're doing. See how they're shading you. See what the read is. See if they're going to ice you on the screen. Like, there's so much you got to process. It's like playing quarterback. Imagine a quarterback catching the ball off the snap. This would be Russ. He catches the ball off the snap. Look at the defense. He wouldn't even look. He just throw it. Just throw it. Like, it's crazy. He's like Tasmanian devil. He just does whatever the hell he wants.
That's when you're on Madden. That's when you're on Madden, mad fast, just pressing X. Next thing you know,
just for no reason.
Something you should do though. Take notes. Josh Giddey, 0 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists, only 3 turnovers. That's a rookie. That's a rookie that did that.
That's maturity. That's maturity beyond his years.
Just needs to take notes. But as Greg said, man, be self-aware in life. If you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. Benchmark, we out. Peace.
Peace.